Hey guys, it's Barbarian's Riddle here. I just wanted to do a quick little video on what I consider to be the top 5 cards for Core 20. Now, as opposed to one of my other videos, this will not be MTG Finance based. These are just cards I think are really good for Oathbreaker. As a little side note, the reason it's not MTG Finance based is, and this is going to be a really hot take, I don't feel like there's a lot that's actionable that relates to Oathbreaker in this set, so there's no impetus for you to pick it up. I'm assuming most of these cards are going to be relatively cheap, so that's a good sign, and yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Now, before we get into the actual list, I wanted to go over an honorable mention that's a strong artifact, but only for certain Oathbreakers, and that one is obviously Chandra's Regulator! Mount up! Chandra's Regulator is a very strong artifact, and just by the nature of its design, it's going to go into every Chandra Oathbreaker deck. I mean, there's no reason not to run it. It rummages away dead cards like mountains, and you're able to double the activated abilities of your Chandra Oathbreaker. That is insane. That said, it doesn't have the ubiquity that I like for this kind of list, and that's the reason it's only an honorable mention. There's a bundle promo that comes with it that's really fun art, and if you're into running Chandra, I highly recommend picking one of these up. It's going to go in every deck, and it's a lot of fun. Now, let's get to our actual list. So, our number 5 card is a Cavalier from the 5-color Cavalier cycle. Now, there was a lot of different choices when it came to making this list. However, I feel like only one truly stood out for Oathbreaker. And I'll give you a hint, it's doing a lot better than the Cavs have done this season. Am I right? No, seriously, I don't know sports. I'm not a sports person. I don't even know what city they play for. Anyway, the Cavalier I ended up choosing was Cavalier of Dawn. Cavalier of Dawn is 2 white. So this is probably only going to go in a mono white deck or a 2-color deck. Creature Elemental Knight, Vigilance. So it's a safe attacker. When Cavalier of Dawn enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature token. So it is universal removal, and that is awesome. But, as Billy Mays would say, that's not all. When Cavalier of Dawn dies, return target artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. And it's a 4/6, which is adequate stats. Now, despite the heavy casting cost, which is the reason it's only number 5 on this list, it is universal removal. It can remove any problematic permanent from the outfield and give your opponent a Golem. So you're getting a lot of value for your 5-mana 4/6. Now, the reason I like this a lot was a dumb synergy that I realized, where if you're in white-black, so you have Cavalier of the Dawn in your graveyard, Animate Dead it. Animate Dead brings it back to the battlefield, Cavalier of Dawn dies, Death trigger on the stack, Animate Dead goes to the graveyard, you can bring back Animate Dead to your hand, Cavalier of Dawn's in the graveyard, bring back Cavalier of Dawn to exile another permanent, that way when Cavalier of Dawn dies again, you can Animate Dead again. So it's not quite an infinite loop, obviously, because the enchantment only goes to your hand, but it's a lot of shenanigans that I personally enjoy. It's not just that, Cavalier of Dawn is just a really good card, it's good removal, it's a good body, and I think the effects on it more than make up for the 2 white cost. Number 4 on our list makes me wanna cry, little sister. Oh, that was terrible. Anyway, number 4 on our list is Flood of Tears. Flood of Tears, I'm actually quite excited about in general. It is a board wipe of sorts. So, it is 4 blue, sorcery. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand. So, a little more pricier than you normally pay for this effect, but if you return 4 or more non-token permanents you control this way, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, the way you'll typically play this is bounce the board, put one of the things that you bounce back to your hand onto the battlefield. The next level way to play this is to use this like a show and tell to bounce the board and then play something disgusting onto the battlefield, like an Emrakul Promised End, or Signature in Blue Diluvian Primordial. Overall, this card is going to be a lot of fun. While it will not become a staple, I can see slotting this into a lot of decks, and heck, flavor-wise, I can use this as Mu Yangling's signature spell, and that is awesome. Number 3 on our list, put your opponent into a ring of fire, and it burns, and the flames, they go higher. I'm of course talking about Leyline of Combustion. Now, Leyline of Combustion is an enchantment that's 2 red, it has the normal Leyline effect where it will enter the battlefield, or it will be put onto the battlefield if it's in your opening hand. And it says, whenever you and/or important distinction, at least one permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls. Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. Now, you might be thinking, wait, it doesn't say player or planeswalker, why would I want this? Well, this is going to slot into a lot of aggressive decks and a lot of burn-based decks, and with our format starting at 20 life, this is such a punishing card. Ironically, more punishing than Leyline of Punishment itself. So, number 2 on the list is a card that I actually see, it's kind of weird, where I feel like it could show up in multiple formats aside from Oathbreaker and EDH, or it won't show up at all. Now, that card is Elvish Reclaimer. For a green, you get a Elf Warrior. Elvish Reclaimer gets +2/+2, as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. 2 tap. Sacrifice a land card, search your library for a land card and put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. An important distinction here is that it tutors a land to the battlefield, not a basic land. That is insanely strong. Now, in our format, I can see this sliding into most green decks that have good utility lands, or any multicolored deck that happens to have green to help fix colors. This is a really strong card. I think it could see play in possibly Modern. It will obviously see play in EDH. Now, the question is, will that ubiquity cause a price spike on it? And as I said at the beginning of the video, no, I don't think that there will be a price spike on this. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity to pick this up. I personally will be picking up a lot of foils of this just because I like the card, I like its design a lot, and I can see it being something I'd like to have in my arsenal going forward. Now, if you've been keeping up with the Core 20 previews at all, this number 1 should not be surprising to you at all. It is Tail's End. 1 in a blue, instant. Counter target activated ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell. Now, this specifically nixes Oathbreakers, which is insane to me. It's so powerful. It's splashable. It counters legendary spells, which means it stops planeswalkers, which means it stops Oathbreakers, and it can counter target activated ability. Triggered ability is nice and will come in handy, but activated abilities, how many times? Just imagine someone going like, oh, I got my Nicol Bolas Dragon God out, I guess it's time to win. Elder Spell, look at all the counters on my Nicol Bolas. Great. I'm going to now choose to activate its last ability. And you respond with Tail's End. It just stops him, and that gives you guys plenty of time to rebuild your own boards and just stop them from winning. I think this card is exceedingly strong. I think there's a lot of times where you're going to want to stop the activation of a Oathbreaker, and this just does everything you want to do, and is specifically going to be great for our format. It's probably going to be fine in Standard, and it may see niche Modern play. I'm not sure, because this is as close as they want us to get to Stifle. This is also a card that is similar to a card I was going to put on a different list, but this almost completely invalidates it, and that is Quelch. So now the great thing about Quelch is it's a Stifle effect for 1 in a blue and a cantrip. However, just the utility on this one makes it so much better, so that card is never going to probably see the light of day in Oathbreaker, and that's fine. That's fine. Tail's End is a fantastic card. If you're about that foil life, go and pick up some foil copies. Again, I don't expect high demand for this card, so maybe just wait a week or 2 until it's bulk rate, but honestly, this is going to be such a great card for Oathbreaker going forward. You're going to actually have to play around blue players having Tail's End, and that is fantastic. And just imagine this in a prison deck as their signature spell. I'm so excited. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to hit that bell icon, I would really appreciate it. That said, I always like to end these videos with a question, so this one's pretty easy. What out of Core 20 are you most excited to play? And if I missed a card that you think is going to be essential for the format, or that you're excited to play, like Repeated Reverberation looks really fun, you know, let me know. Tell me why you're excited about that card, or why a card shouldn't be on my list. Anyway, guys, I hope you have fun, roll safe, and make sure to break some oaths, not your bank.